Good afternoon. Today is day 2 of my spiral path pilgrimage, and I just got home. So I've got my feet up, my shoes off, I'm sitting outside with a cup of tea and just enjoying this beautiful weather. The weather was completely different today from yesterday, and today I walked a 6-mile loop that I call the Ring of Gaia, where I walked to 4 sacred sites that are they hold the energy of the elemental gates of Gaia. So the earth gate, fire gate, air gate, and water gate. And so I had my plan for how I was going to walk today, and I got to St. Buryan to take the bus, and my app had the schedule all wrong. So there wasn't going to be a bus for nearly another hour. And so I was like, well, what am I going to do? Well, I said, I think I'm going to walk from St. Buryan then, because there's a beautiful path down to the coast. So in all that happened kind of in a moment, I realized that I had come in to walk this Ring of Gaia going clockwise, which is how I always do it. And when I thought about walking from St. Buryan, I realized that I'm walking the spiral the other way on this pilgrimage. I'm walking from the center, and I'm coming out to the outer rings of the spiral. So I actually had to walk this Ring of Gaia going the other way, and I hadn't put that together. But there was the path providing and guiding me by having the bus schedule be off, and that in a moment's notice I could shift my intention of how I was going to walk, and then be in the flow of this spiral path pilgrimage, going from the center of the spiral and out. So what a beautiful way to receive the magic of the path, even before I got walking. The other thing that happened was, since I was then in St. Buryan without having to rush to catch the bus, I kind of looked around, thought that I would use the public toilets, and then I noticed that there was a coffee shop. Now, St. Buryan's needed a coffee shop for as long as I've been visiting, and I went in, and a man named Phil was so excited. This has been his life dream, and he had literally invested his life savings to fulfill his dream by opening this coffee shop, the Curious Coffee Pot in St. Buryan. And the latte was delicious. The inspiration from Phil and his courageously risking everything to fulfill his dream. So I got to walk with that magic as well today. So as I was walking down toward the coast, I had to kind of revamp my inner map of how, not so much the path, but what going the other way meant in terms of the Ring of Gaia and its placement in the spiral. I sat down in a spot in St. Loy Woods and received the download of how this path today was going to unfurl, wow, there's that word again, and how, of course, it was completely perfect and appropriate. I mean, that's where you just can't make this stuff up, right? And so I walked down through St. Loy Woods to St. Loy Creek, where I took my shoes and socks off, and I put my feet in the cold water to immerse myself in the cold water at the water gate. I then came out onto the coast path. I'm going to share photos on this post, and then walked along to quite a ways, actually, to Carn Barge, which is a cliff sanctuary out on the coast that has a rock that's standing up, and this is the air gate, and the gift of sitting at this air gate and the wind literally just blowing me was that we have to be so rooted in ourselves. So when these winds of change and these crazy weather storms come through, we have to be so rooted in truth, in ourselves, to withstand these storms. There are so many trees down here that are very old, and they look beautiful, and they've just been literally lifted up and boom, over. They weren't rooted. They weren't deeply rooted, and so they just got plucked when the winds came along. So, with the winds of change that are happening everywhere within our lives and around the globe, being rooted in truth, in love, anchored in love, is absolutely essential as we evolve, as we change, as we move forward, and as we allow these winds of change to blow through us, removing anything and everything that is not aligned with the greater truth. So from Karn Barge, I walked up to Mary Maiden's Stone Circle, and I crossed the field over the stile and was coming into the field where the Mary Maidens are, and I was greeted by a black lab, a buoyant, oh, he was just beautiful. And I came up to the stone circle, and his owner, Marianne, was there, and so she was doing her thing, and I was just doing my thing around the stones, and then my whole thing was I was thinking I would catch the bus from Mary Maiden's back into St. Buryan, and as I'm standing there, I see the bus go by, and I was like, oh dear. She goes, well, where are you going? I could give you a ride. So Mary Ann and I ended up talking and connecting at Mary Maiden's. Her dog just was loving me up, and I was loving him. And for those of you who don't know me, I came over here with my black lab, Rupert, and he passed a few months after my arriving, and I have a soft spot for black labs, especially male black labs. And there was Ash just greeting me, kind of weaving in and around my legs, asking for his butt to be scratched. And I felt very welcomed. I felt Rupert there with me. And when Rupert passed 2 years ago, I went to Mary Maiden's on my way home, and there was honestly a full rainbow over the stone circle as I was driving home in deep grief. And that's when I knew he was okay. The magic of the path. So Marianne and I was given some sparklers for my birthday the other day. Thank you, Debbie. And we tucked ourselves behind one of the stones, and we finally got our sparklers lit. And it took a while. We actually had to talk about the Mary Michael line and the alignment and the serpentining of the Mary Way. And once we had that conversation, it was so beautiful. The sparklers lit, and we danced and enjoy in the center of the circle. Like, I had no idea. And there was something about arriving there and not being alone, not having to do the celebration of arriving at the fire gate. Ash is the name of the dog, the sparkles, like, this is where you can't make this stuff up. I wasn't there alone. I got to celebrate with another woman who was just in delight to be there and to engage with me and to give me a ride. And even once we got into St. Buryan, we saw each other at one shop, and then we drove back into St. Buryan, and then we saw each other again, and we just were laughing at the serendipity of our coming together today. So the magic of the path, the magic of opening to what the path is offering you, and to be curious and to really invite the wisdom, the joy, and the miracles, the magic of the path every time you walk it, whether it's a daily walk or a pilgrimage. The path is always there to provide for you, to gift you, to bring you into a deeper and greater awareness. Gifts from the path. I'll be back with you tomorrow after day 3. Thanks for being here.